¿Cómo les va? Bienvenidos a otra emisión de Filmoteca Online. Vuelve un clásico de Filmoteca Online, Buenos Vecinos, estas películas que reunimos bajo esta etiqueta y que representan la forma en la que nos miran desde afuera, sobre todo los norteamericanos, porque la mayor parte de las películas que hemos venido viendo en esta sección son de ese origen y están hechas ya sea por la Enciclopedia Británica, que es de todas maneras una empresa norteamericana, o para distintas universidades con fines didácticos, ¿no? Es decir, daría la impresión de que esto que vamos a ver tiene esas mismas características. Son películas hechas para las universidades, para las aulas en principio, y complementan, digamos, diversos temas. Era una forma de pensar el cine como una gran enciclopedia también, ¿no? Con un corto dedicado a cada entrada a esa enciclopedia. Bueno, la Argentina tiene sin duda una entrada en la enciclopedia cinematográfica y estos cortos son un poco eso. El material que vamos a ver hoy es un poco más reciente que los que vimos en emisiones anteriores. Vimos cosas de los 30, de los 40. Esto debe ser de mediados de los 60, por los billetes que se ven en un momento cuando un personaje compra fruta ahí en una feria. Y es interesante porque, claro, en general la didáctica de estos films solía ser bastante aséptica, como hemos visto en cortos anteriores. Este es un poco más, yo no me animo a decir artísticamente sensible, pero evidentemente tal vez porque es un corto más reciente, porque la gente que lo hizo tenía otra formación, una pareja, Thomas y Jacqueline Smith. En todo caso, se interesan por cuestiones que no aparecen en otros cortos. Por ejemplo, al comienzo hay niños en una escuela cantando el himno. Una imagen que básicamente todos tenemos de nuestra infancia y que hasta ahora no había aparecido en ninguno de los otros materiales. Las Villas Miserias, bueno, en este corto aparecen, yo creo que por primera vez en los materiales de este tipo que venimos viendo, ¿no? Y otros detalles que ustedes van a observar. El carácter didáctico del film es evidente a partir de la entonación del locutor, del narrador. Es evidente que este material está destinado al público joven de las escuelas. Porque, bueno, el tipo dice en un momento, y las estaciones están a la inversa. En enero es verano, ¿no? Como si fuese tan asombroso el solo hecho de estar en otra parte del mundo. Argentina se llama simplemente el material que vamos a ver, es bastante más extenso que los otros que hemos visto y van a ver ustedes, me parece también bastante interesante. Que lo disfruten.
Argentina is far away from most of the world. A country in South America second in size only to Brazil, Argentina reaches down 2,300 miles to the stormy Strait of Magellan at the end of Tierra del Fuego. There, the South Pole is only a little more than 2,000 miles away. Storm after storm, with birds flying in gale winds, leaves Tierra del Fuego an almost desolate land. In the polar waters, colonies of seals abound. Roaring and barking on the rocks, they gather in great numbers during the breeding season. Ushuaia is the southernmost community in the world. The mountains are covered with snow all year round, but the seasons are reversed. Summer is in January. Those who live here mainly earn their living from sheep raising and lumbering. Now, with oil being discovered, more people are coming to live in this land so close to the South Pole. Further north is the Patagonia region, which is mostly desert, sagebrush, and a few wild horses. Scarcity of water makes Patagonia an almost empty land, except where oil has been found. The armadillo thrives here. His shell, built like a pine cone, is his best protection against desert enemies. His neighbors are the guanacos, who roam far and wide over the desert. Quick and easy on their feet, they can run as fast as 40 miles per hour. Out in the western Patagonia, right next to the Andes, lie some very large sheep ranches. These sheep produce wonderful wool, which is an important product for export, especially to Europe. A 100 years ago, a brave lot of colonists came to the Patagonia to escape religious persecution. They were the Welsh. And today, descendants still carry on their family traditions. Mrs. Jones serves afternoon tea to all her nephews and nieces. When they gather together, the Welsh speak Spanish, which is the language of Argentina. Many of them, such as Hannah Jones, can also speak English fluently, as well as their native Welsh tongue. Along Argentina's western border are the lake regions and the Andes Mountains. Like a little Switzerland, Argentines come to Bariloche for happy summer vacations on the lakes filled with trout. The Andes extend more than 2,000 miles along the border of Chile and Argentina. In this range lies the highest peak in the Western Hemisphere, Mount Aconcagua, over 23,000 feet high. High on their border, Argentina and Chile have erected the Christ of the Andes statue, which has become a symbol of everlasting peace between the two countries. Down in the cool foothills lies the fruit country, where tasty and fresh apples grow in abundance. Further north, where the climate becomes warmer, sugarcane is grown. The green stalks grow so high, over 15 feet, that the ranch foreman travels on horseback to inspect the top of the sugarcane. Going further north, the Andean Cordilleras are mostly covered with jungle. Then they change rapidly into a range of desert highlands the rest of the way to the Bolivian border. The llama lives here. He's very hardy and can exist on the desert highlands for weeks without drinking water. Be careful. He spits when angry, even at a puma. This puma, Teodora, was captured in the mountains nearby. In the jungle are the Indian mission schools run by the Padres. Very few Indians remain in Argentina, as most were killed in fierce Indian wars of the past. On its northeastern side, Argentina meets with Paraguay and Brazil. To get there, a Paraguayan and Russian refugee row downstream toward the mighty Iguazu Falls. These are the largest in South America and can be compared in size to Niagara Falls in the United States. The power of these falls would light 100 cities. Yet very few have penetrated this jungle that is a wall of green ferns filled with butterflies of rainbow colors. To most people, Argentina is the Pampas, the great plain, the big sky, which is all like Texas. The Pampas soil is rich and fertile. Nature is easygoing with abundant rainfall and warm sunshine, so much so that countless tons of food are raised to feed the world's growing population. Enough wheat is exported by Argentina to supply 1/3 of the people of the United States for 1 full year. Sunflower seeds are grown for cooking oil. Rich prairie grass grows all around, leaving plenty of room for cattle to romp and grow. The gaucho, the ombu tree, and the lasso are all part of the life of the Pampas. And so is the asado for great eating, where lamb and beef are barbecued for hungry ranch hands. Eventually, most of the cattle go for auction to the Buenos Aires stockyard. Buenos Aires is one of the major inland seaports of the world, a refuge for ships coming from food-short nations. Hides will go to France. Frozen beef to England. Wheat, and more wheat to Europe and India. And in return, from Sweden, passenger trains. Buenos Aires carries on a larger trade with foreign nations than any city in the Americas, except New York. Over 7 million people live in and around Buenos Aires, which is 1/3 of the country's total population. The well-known obelisk marks the center of the city. Avenida 9 de Julio is one of the widest avenues in the world. Outdoor markets are everywhere with a large variety of food for sale. Half a dozen oranges cost 12 cents American, which is reasonable for the middle-class Argentine. Unfortunately, some of the very poor must live in homes called villas miseria, The father may have been a tenant farmer, but his job has been replaced by farm machinery. Food is still cheap and plentiful, even for these people. The government is building some apartment houses for the poor, but money is scarce, with interest rates at 30%. There are still a few old carros around, but times are changing with creeping traffic jams. Most of the people commute to work from the suburbs by trains made in Japan. More than 3/4 of the population are descendants of Europeans that came from Spain and Italy during the 1800s. Some of them were skilled craftsmen whose art is found today in the making of fine leather saddles. Many of these are being sent to the United States and Europe. The Grenadiers are the elite corps of the Army, with a great and colorful past. The early history of Argentina is one of conquistadores, Spanish colonization, and independence from Spain in 1810. Throughout these times, the Catholic Church built beautiful cathedrals. The men dressed in the costume of the gaucho. And the music of the gaucho days lingers on forever. The gaucho was a descendant of the hardy Spanish soldier. Always lonely, he roamed the pampas with his horse and dog, earning his living on the cattle ranches. Today, the gaucho is no longer here, but his spirit still remains among the modern cowboys. Argentina grew with railroad transportation, refrigeration to export frozen beef, and the fence to mark off the boundary lines of the huge estancias. Along with the raising of prize cattle, these estancia owners became enormously wealthy. Around the estancia home, the family gathers for a big celebration.
My name is Claudia. I am here at my uncle's farm in Argentina. Today, my brother is 15 and is having a birthday party.
And what does Roberto receive for a birthday present? A new saddle for playing polo. Golf starts early. Polo is a highly popular sport out in the estancia, where there is plenty of room for horses to run. Dad thinks his boys are doing just great. In fact, they do. Argentine polo teams have won international fame playing all over Europe. Football, we call it soccer, is Latin America's most popular sport, and the Argentines play the game to win. From the big game players down to the young ones, the Argentines are wildly enthusiastic about outdoor sports. It is their custom for the whole family to belong to a social club that has all types of sports activities. In the cities, industrial employment has risen rapidly. And Argentina is the largest manufacturer of automobiles in South America. The best of foreign car models are assembled, and the French Renault is one example. The famed Jeep is fast replacing the horse. A car in Argentina costs about twice as much as in the United States, yet auto manufacturers cannot keep up with the demand. Also in short supply, gasoline. Now that more oil is being discovered in the Patagonia, Argentine engineers are producing almost sufficient supplies. Another important source of future energy, hydroelectric power. Learning to develop these resources requires knowledge, and all children have to attend school. White coats are worn, so poor and rich dress alike. Practically everybody can read and write. From an early age, children learn about their great hero, General José de San Martín. San Martín played a leading part in liberating Argentina from Spain. Their constitutional government is modeled after that of the United States. The universities are well known for training good doctors, lawyers, and engineers. Some graduates will choose government service as a lifelong career.
Both of us are law students who look forward in helping Argentina to become a better democracy.
20 years ago, almost, all lawyers worked just for their own interests. Today, more professional men are given their time to help solve their own country's problems.
As Argentines, we want to live and work in our country so that our people may have a better life in all senses.
Today, Argentina stands as one of the richest lands on earth, able to produce, manufacture, and export food to the hungry world. Indeed, Argentina es muy rica.